Well, Stefon Diggs is now a Commander. What does that mean for the division? What does that mean for the Birds in Philly? We're diving into it all on this episode of the No Shame with Shane podcast. Let's get it! Crazy breaking news this week. Stefon Diggs is going to be a Washington Commander. He is coming to the NFC East. Stefon Diggs, he is going to be signing a 2-year deal worth up to $12 million, or I'm sorry, a 1-year deal worth up to $12 million with the Washington Commanders. This is a huge move for the Commanders. It complements Jaden Daniels going into his third year. It reinforces the receiver room, a receiver room that was young. So this is a big deal. Like, bro, honestly, the Commanders signing Stefon Diggs is a championship move. It's a championship move. Like, we're talking about a team that 2 seasons ago was knocking on the door of a Super Bowl before, and then last season got derailed by injuries. And now this year, They're trying to get back to where they were, bro. So this is a championship move by the Washington Commanders. The Commanders signing Stefon Diggs is 1000% a championship move. This is a team that 2 years ago was knocking on the door, was 1 game away from the Super Bowl before, and then of course last year, then being derailed by injuries. Nobody was healthy, including Jaden Daniels. So this is a championship move for sure. But honestly, the Commanders signing Stefon Diggs, it's a championship move because it brings winning experience to a position group that was inexperienced. Like, it brings winning experience to an inexperienced room. Like, and honestly, you look at this receiver room, it's a room that has a lot of potential, a lot of potential in athletes, guys like Luke McCaffrey, who had some flashes last year to show he was to be a deep threat. Jalen Lane, a guy who was big for them on special teams, has that breakaway speed, has that utility utility Swiss Army knife type of skill set. You look at Antonio Williams, he's been doing great in training camp so far, praised for his footwork, his route running ability. And then you look at Dyami Brown, he's got chemistry with Jaden Daniels, having that 1 year with him in 2024. And we saw what they were able to do, what Dyami Brown, the offense he was able to contribute to, what that ended up leading to. But Diggs is the only Diggs is proven. Like, you have a lot of potential in that receiver room, but Diggs is proven. Diggs is the only proven asset in this receiver room alongside Terry McLaurin. So the Commanders bringing in Terry McLaurin, it's a championship move because you bring in winning experience, a guy who was coming off of a Super Bowl run, to a receiver room that was very inexperienced, besides Terry McLaurin. So this is a championship level move. Championship level move for sure. Again, championship level move by the Commanders bringing in Stefon Diggs. They bring in winning experience from a guy who, of course, just went to a Super Bowl, was just in the Super Bowl last year. They bring in winning experience. They bring in winning experience to a room that was inexperienced. A lot of young guys who have potential to be valuable weapons on this offense. Luke McCaffrey showed flashes of being a deep threat last year. Jalen Lane, he's got that breakaway speed, that sort of utility Swiss Army knife asset, being huge on special teams. Antonio Williams, as a rookie, he's had a great training camp so far. Dyami Brown, he's got a year in with Jaden Daniels already. So a lot of potential, but Diggs is the only proven asset now in this room. The only proven asset in this room alongside Terry McLaurin. So this is a championship move. Championship move for sure. But honestly, Stefon Diggs is far from washed. Like, another reason why this is a huge move for the Commanders is because Stefon Diggs is far from washed. Like, people will say this move doesn't mean much because Stefon Diggs, he doesn't have that second gear anymore. He's not the same guy he once was in Buffalo, or maybe even at the beginning of his Houston tenure. Bro, Stefon Diggs is far from washed. Like, bro, we're talking about a guy that has 7 seasons out of the past 8 seasons with over 1,000 yards. This guy has 7 seasons with over 1,000 yards out of the past 8 seasons. The only season he didn't break that 1,000-yard mark was when he tore his ACL halfway through the season. And then fresh off the ACL tear recovery, Last season, he puts up over 1,000 yards and goes to a Super Bowl. Like this man is far from washed. So now you're telling me his first year back off an ACL tear, he not only puts up over 1,000 yards, but also helps lead his offense to the Super Bowl. Now he's coming off of a fully healthy year. He has what will pretty much be a full training camp with his new team, and now has a better quarterback in Jaden Daniels. You're telling me Diggs isn't about to go crazy? You're telling me this isn't a big deal, a huge get for the Commanders, bro? Bro, Stefon Diggs is far from washed. He's far from washed. Like, this is a huge signing. Stefon Diggs is far from washed because Stefon Diggs is far from washed. Stefon Diggs is honestly closer to Terry McLaurin than being washed. He's closer to Terry McLaurin than being washed. One, this is the same guy who, out of the past 8 seasons, has 7 seasons with over 1,000 receiving yards. The one season he didn't hit the mark was when he got hurt. And honestly, looking at him compared to Terry and honestly any other receiver in this room, Diggs is coming in as the best route runner in this receiving room. He's coming in as the best yak receiver in this receiving room, the best guy for the best yards after catch guy in this receiver room. I think he's slightly better than Terry. And honestly, his hands are on caliber with Terry. His hands are definitely on caliber with Terry. Terry probably has him by the slightest, in terms of just catchability, catch radius, but Diggs is right there with Terry. So Diggs is closer to Terry McLaurin than he is to being washed. So this is a huge signing, a championship move signing by the Washington Commanders, 1,000%. And honestly, the Commanders signing Stefon Diggs, the Commanders have a top 5 receiver duo in the league right now, let alone the NFC. The Commanders definitely have a top 5 receiver duo with Stefon Diggs and Terry McLaurin. Like, honestly, you look at that top 5 group, that top 5 receiver duo group in the NFL. Obviously, you got to put Jamar Chase and T. Higgins at 1. I got Puka Nacua and DA at 2. I got CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens at 3, obviously. I got Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams at 4. I think that's arguable. Them being at 4, but I'll give it to them just because we've seen it and we'll know what we'll get out of that pairing specifically. And then I got Terry and Diggs right there at 5. Like, no other team in the league other than those 5 have 2 receiver ones. No other team has 2 receiver ones. Not the Vikings with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison is not a receiver 1. Not the Broncos with Cortland Sutton and Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle isn't a true receiver 1, at least not yet. The Patriots with A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs is not a true receiver 1, at least on a good offense, at least not yet. JSN, not the Seahawks, with JSN and Rashid Shaheed. Rashid Shaheed isn't a true receiver 1, at least not yet. So the Commanders are one of the only teams in the league that genuinely have 2 receiver 1s. 2 receiver 1s. Like, bro, Terry and Diggs definitely are will be a top 5 receiver duo in the NFL this year for sure. They're going to be a top 5 receiver duo in the NFL for sure. Honestly, Diggs by himself. Diggs coming into, like, honestly, bro, you can't tell me it's not a good move when you have a receiver 1 who on his new team turns into receiver 2. Like, his position is so, like, they already have so much talent in his position that Stefon Diggs is now a receiver 2. You can't tell me that a signing that consists of a receiver 1, a guy that would be a receiver 1 on most other teams, now turns into a receiver 2 on your team. You can't tell me that's not a good signing. Anytime we have seen a receiver 1 join a team that now he has to turn himself into a receiver 2, anytime we've seen that recently, it works out. The Rams pick up Devontae Adams, obviously a receiver 1 on almost any other team. He's now a receiver 2 because of Puka Nacua. That clearly worked out, being an elite offense, the best passing offense, arguably, last season. The Cowboys pick up George Pickens, a receiver 1 coming over from Pittsburgh. He now joins a team that he has to turn himself into more of a receiver 2, at least roster-wise. That obviously worked out. An elite offense, I believe the best passing offense up there with the Rams. So, bro, like, anytime we have seen a receiver 1 join a team where he now has to be a receiver 2, it rarely doesn't work out. It rarely does not work out. So Stefon Diggs coming to a situation where he is now a receiver 2, a guy who on almost any other team would be a receiver 1, a guy who was a receiver 1 this past season on a Super Bowl offense. That guy now being a receiver 2, that's a great signing. That's a great signing. That's a great pickup for the Commanders. And honestly, the Commanders offense could be a problem. The Commanders offense could be a problem this year. Honestly, Stefon Diggs as a number 2 receiver in the NFL this year, Stefon Diggs is already a top 4 receiver 2 in the NFL. Stefon Diggs now is a receiver 2 on the Commanders. He's a top 4 receiver 2. He's a top 4 receiver 2 in the league easily. Like, honestly, if I'm ranking the top 5 receiver 2s in the NFL right now, obviously you got to put T. Higgins at 1. I think you got to put DA at 2. Honestly, those two can really be interchangeable, but T at 1, DA at 2, maybe 1A, 1B, George Pickens at 3, and I got Diggs right there at 4. Stefon Diggs is a top 5 receiver 2 in the league, and he's not 5. Honestly, there honestly aren't 5 receiver 2s in the NFL that you can say are better than Stefon Diggs this going into the 2026 season. There aren't 5 better ones. Like, I'm not putting Jameson Williams over Stefon Diggs because Jameson Williams, he's doing what he's been doing with defenses also having to worry about Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm putting Stefon Diggs over Jordan Addison. I think that goes without saying. I'm putting Stefon Diggs over Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle has accomplished what he accomplished in Miami with defenses having to worry about prime Tyreek Hill. I'm putting Stefon Diggs over Romeo Doubs. Obviously, I think that definitely goes without saying. It does almost everything better than Romeo Doubs. And I'm putting Stefon Diggs over Rashid Shaheed. I think that pretty much goes without saying. The only thing Rashid Shaheed does better than Stefon Diggs is maybe stretch the field. So there aren't 5 receiver 2s in the NFL that are better than Stefon Diggs going into the 2026 season. Stefon Diggs right now is already a top 5 receiver 2 in the NFL, and he's not 5. He's top 5 and he's not 5. For sure. For sure. Like, honestly, looking at the Commanders signing Stefon Diggs, Jaden Daniels might be in for an MVP year. I'm not going to lie. He might be in for an MVP year. Like, this man, Jaden Daniels, with 1 all-pro receiver, 1 stud at receiver in Terry McLaurin, was the greatest rookie quarterback to ever play the game. He was a 3,500-yard passer. He was basically a 900-yard rusher, putting up 31 total touchdowns. He did that with 1 all-pro receiver. You're telling me now that he has 2 all-pro wide receivers with Stefon Diggs going to Washington, Jaden Daniels could borderline be a 4,000-yard passer this year and put up 35 touchdowns. He could possibly put up over 30 touchdowns through the air now that he has Stefon Diggs. Jaden Daniels, this Stefon Diggs signing for the Commanders could allow Jaden Daniels to have an MVP caliber year for sure. For sure. And that's a problem for the Birds. Honestly, bro, speaking of the Birds, Stefon Diggs now coming to the NFC East. The NFC East might be the best division in football going into the 2026 season. It might be it honestly might be the most competitive division in football going into the 2026 season. Like, you look at the NFC East, obviously, the NFC East might be the best division in football after the Stefon Diggs signing. It might be. It's definitely going to be the most competitive. Like, the Eagles are obviously going to win, for sure. The Eagles are going to win the NFC East, but you look at this division has 3 teams that could potentially win the division, that at least have a chance to win the division and be legit playoff teams. Has 3. Like, you look at this division, this is the division that has 3 elite quarterbacks, at least in the regular season. 3 elite quarterbacks, at least in the regular season. Jalen Hurts being an elite quarterback. Jaden Daniels possibly cementing himself as an elite quarterback this year in year 3. Dak Prescott being an elite quarterback only in the regular season. So the quarterback play is competitive. This is also a division that has 3 elite defenses potentially, I believe. Eagles obviously have an elite defense. The Commanders, I think, will have an elite defense, at least on paper, the way they look right now in training camp with who they have on the roster. And the Cowboys honestly look like they could have an elite defense this year with the additions that they made, the draft picks that they signed, like Caleb Downs, bringing in talent like Rashawn Gary, retaining Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, the work they did with the linebackers, you know what I mean? And they have the coaching to sort of help support that defensive talent as well. So 3 elite defenses. This is a division that could have 3 potentially elite receiver rooms. Obviously, the Cowboys having an elite receiver room with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. The Commanders having an elite receiver room with Terry McLaurin and Stefon Diggs. And I think the Eagles could potentially have an elite receiver room with Devontae Smith at receiver 1, Dontavian Wicks, the way he's looked in training camp. And obviously, it heavily relies on Mekhi Lemon's development. But potentially 3 elite receiver rooms. And this is a division that has 3 potential elite offensive lines going into the 2026 season. Obviously, the Eagles have an elite offensive line with all pros and Pro Bowlers up and down the line. The Cowboys have a dominant offensive line right now. The Commanders, honestly, in my opinion, could have an elite offensive line this year with all of their guys back healthy. Sam Cosmi's healthy. Laramie Tunsil is healthy. Brandon Coleman is healthy. Josh Connerly is healthy going into year 2. They're all in great shape as well. Sam Cosmi told me at Commanders training camp that he gained 8 pounds of lean muscle and lost 3% body fat. So this is a competitive division. The NFC East could be the best division in football going into the 2026 season, for sure. Could be the best division in football. But honestly, like the Commanders and the Rams to me are the Eagles' biggest competition, not only in the NFC, but arguably in the NFL. Like NFC for sure, for the biggest competition for the Eagles in the NFC for sure are the Rams and the Commanders by far. By far. And they're two of the most competitive teams going up against the Eagles out of the entire league this coming season. Like, you look at the Rams, obviously an elite defense with the addition of Myles Garrett. They're getting ready to get Aaron Donald back in the building. So now you have 2 GOATs on one D line at the same time. The offense obviously is elite, an elite passing offense with Matt Stafford, MVP, arguably the best receiver duo in the game right now in Puka and Devontae Adams. The Rams are obviously competition. But then you look at the Commanders. The Commanders also have an elite receiver duo, at least on paper, with Terry McLaurin and Stefon Diggs. They have what could be an elite quarterback in Jaden Daniels. Not only an elite quarterback in the regular season, but an elite quarterback in the playoffs. A playoff riser at the quarterback position. And then they also have an elite defense, what could be an elite defense this year with all the additions they made to the D-line. Odafe Owe, Tim Settle, Clavon Chason, Charles Omenihu coming over from the Chiefs, So they got drafting Sonny Styles at linebacker, bringing in Leo Chenal at linebacker. So this is like, those are by far the biggest competition for the Eagles this year in the NFC, let alone the NFL for sure, are going to be the Commanders and the Rams 1000%. But the Commanders signing Stefon Diggs, it's a problem for the Eagles. The Commanders signing Stefon Diggs is a problem for the Eagles. The Eagles defense, it's elite. It's elite for sure. I think we can contain this Commanders offense either way, but at the same time, bringing in Stefon Diggs does make it harder on the defense. Quinn, there's no receiver, even with Stefon Diggs, there's no receiver in the Commanders receiving room that can beat Quinyon Mitchell one-on-one head-to-head. There's no receiver in that Commanders receiving room, even with Stefon Diggs, that is going to beat Quinyon Mitchell consistently in man-to-man coverage. In man coverage. There's no receiver. Terry McLaurin wasn't able to beat Quinyon Mitchell consistently in man-to-man coverage last year or the year before that. Stefon Diggs is not going to beat Quinyon Mitchell head-to-head, one-on-one and man-to-man coverage consistently throughout this season. But the Commanders getting Stefon Diggs, it does make it harder on the defense because now we got 2 guys we got to worry about. Obviously, going up against the Commanders in the passing game, there was really one guy that the defense would really need to key in on in the passing game, and that's Terry McLaurin. Now that the Commanders have Stefon Diggs, that's another guy that the defense has to key in on. So it definitely makes it harder. It definitely makes it harder. There's still no receiver that is consistently beating Quinion Mitchell in man coverage. But the Commanders bringing in Stefon Diggs, it's definitely a problem for the Eagles because it makes defending the Commanders harder. It definitely makes defending the Commanders harder. But that's all we got for today's edition of No Shame with Shane. If you haven't already, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. And I'll be back later on with more shameless takes.